Hi, guys. My name is Seb, and I am a 20-year veteran of the RCMP, and I spent a few years in the military as well. I am not a combat veteran by any stretch of the imagination, and I would like to preface this speech with two separate points. First off, my opinion, what will be expressed here is my opinion and my opinion only. It does not represent the opinion of any organizations, including the RCMP or the military, or its members. And even though some might share my views, and that's okay, it does not represent a formal opinion or a formal statement from these organizations. And I think that's important. As well as, I'd like to apologize to our veterans. I mentioned the veterans a second ago. I believe that the turmoil and the lack of leadership that you were enthralled on over the last couple of years here has been absolutely destructive on our veteran community. And the nation that you stood for and defended and sworn to protect is now consummating itself from the inside out. And I apologize for that on behalf of those that should be leading you. I'm going to launch on a bit of a diatribe here. It will not be short. It will address several key issues, in my opinion. And I also will not try to impose on you my competence or my leadership abilities. I would suggest that you listen to the message until the end. There is something in there for all of us. And if we are to work together to problem solve what's going on here, we're going to have to start listening and do less yelling and crying and yelling at each other. So on that, let's get started. I'm going to start with the leaders of this country. Those that are supposed to uphold the principles of leadership. Those that we elect through democratic process to be in those positions. Over the course of the last 20 years, I was very seldom involved in politics. I was a little bit outside my sphere of influence. I was considered to be a conflict of interest, and also I was busy leading. And so, to my dismay, a couple of days ago, I've actually had a look at my really first and second full parliamentary sessions. I was absolutely mind blown. It is beyond asinine that we can assemble intelligent people, educated people in the same room, and that their sessions turn the way they have. Heckling, no real listening, no real conversations at all, actually, because everybody sticks to 5 or 6 lines that they keep on repeating on a loop. No real conceding. No real attempt at trying to find common ground and bridge the gap. No real attempt at really problem solving anything. It is absolutely one of the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. Bar none. If kids were acting like this when they were having a conversation, you would be sending them to their room for a timeout until they're ready to speak to each other properly. Yet we're demoing the exact opposite. And this is supposed to be the academia elite of our society. I am not talking about elitist, talking about elite. The people that we entrust to make decisions on our behalf, for those decisions to be sensible, reasonable, and articulable. Who is planning to lead this country in unity? Who is planning to step up to bring people together. When is that happening? If the fact that the parliamentary sessions are live or recorded or available to the public is the problem, then change it. Go lock yourselves in a room with no camera. For all I care. I understand it's not that simple. What I need you to understand is you need to be able to have constructive conversations. Those constructive conversations may lead to a hybrid solution to a problem. It may lead to you not getting necessarily 100% of what you want, but you might get 90% of what you want and 10% of what you agree on. At the end of the day, there is enough brain power in that room to make that happen. There is enough wheels that have been on the pavement to make that happen. But somehow it's not happening. It is critically important for the leaders of this country at all levels to step up and object at polarization. Do so sensibly and quickly because the clock is running. Accountability should be in your back pocket. Bring it everywhere you go. So that way you won't need anybody else to hold you accountable. You will hold yourself to account. Stop prioritizing political survival over what's right for this nation. And ultimately, it's okay to have dissenting opinions. It's okay to be arguing certain things. It's okay to get a little bit heated. What's not okay is coming out on the other side, not on a united front. It sends a very clear message to the nation, and it sends a very clear message to our kids. We are out of control. This is a tailspin. And nobody is doing anything to stop it. When a problem is political in nature, deal with it politically. Don't make it a police and an enforcement problem all of a sudden, unless it absolutely has to go that way. The same police that you will undoubtedly run right over with a bus once they have stepped up to enforce whatever legal authority you have received. It is time for conversations. This is a very unusual set of circumstances here. There is no cookie cutter solution to this. We have to make it from scratch together. I don't care if you have to call Iceland to find out how they would deal with this. This is not about who takes the credit. This is about who gets it done, who leads the country. Imagine what we could accomplish as a nation if we didn't care who takes the credit. That is within your purview. And at that, over the last 4 years, you have failed miserably. Leadership is the root of all problems in an organization or in a country. Don't be looking around, deflecting blame left, right, and center. There is nobody to pin that blame to. But there is still time to do what's right. Do what's right. And do it now. If you don't know what that means, seek seek to find out. That is why you have all the leaders that you have working with you. That is why you have a team. That is why there is a team on the other side. But if those two teams cannot agree upon anything, you will get nothing done. That will be based in democracy, anyways. To the police leaders, I don't envy you at all. I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly how your people feel. This is very different. This is a very different set of circumstances. And I will say this, historically in policing, there has been issues with being proactive with the way we conduct business. We have a problem on our hands. Sometimes it turns into a tactical dilemma. And when it does, there are certain course of actions that normally would be the right way to go. In 99% of the time, perhaps that's the case. Unfortunately, for this one time, that would be an oversimplification. And now we may need a boutique solution to this. We may need something completely outside the box, something strategic, something sensible, and something that still gets the job done. I don't know what that looks like, but you have enough people out there putting their minds and their heads together. What they need to hear is we are okay with innovative solutions. Also, there is no urgency. I know you are being told there is urgency. There's always urgency. This needs to be done sensibly. It isn't always going to be pretty. We understand that. Things are going to happen. There's going to be isolated incidents. We understand. But if we control the majority of the constant or the variables, we're going to mitigate a lot of the issues that we are seeing percolating, popping over everywhere on media. It is an extremely difficult place to be, but it's also an amazing opportunity for some of those key leaders to think outside the box and be the ones that prevented an escalation of violence in this nation against a nation that's hurting, despite the lawful nature of the execution. Time to not fall in love with your own plans, but question them until innovative solutions are created. Time to lead. The community leaders, you have an amazing opportunity to be heard. You have been heard. Regardless of which side of the fence you're on, you have the right to be heard. There is no question there. I don't care what's happening in current times. Everybody has the right to be heard. How they communicate their concerns is key. When is it time to pivot? When has going head to head forever ever yielded anything positive? The person who flanks first wins. Start working on your intellectual flanks. Start sending the letters to your MLAs and your representatives in politics in your own respective jurisdictions. Send them well thought out, articulated letters, not insults and name calling. Has been the case in a lot of instances. Control your emotions. Override your emotions with logic and sensitivity. Don't dehumanize the other side. Do not dehumanize the people you are dealing with. They are humans. If you dehumanize them, you will treat them as such. And this is going to be a tragedy of epic proportion if we start doing that on each other in the country. And it has happened. We know it has. Start using your voice. Start holding your leaders accountable. Have them answer actual questions instead of skillfully manigancing around without ever answering you until you are so confused that you no longer ask. Ask to be a part of the process. One of the things that's been abundantly clear for me over the last couple of years is there's a lot of decisions being made, and if there is no time to articulate those decisions properly, because it's a dynamically evolving situation, I get it. But there has been plenty of time to actually produce what led to the decisions that are being made on our account. Don't just trust blindly, but ask to see. That is your right as Canadians. How did you come to the conclusion that you come to? And what else is in the balance that may or may not have been considered during a risk assessment phase? How is that impacting us? And how are we problem solving any unresolved issues together? That is within your purview. And it is your right. You have the right to hold your elected officials accountable. And then look in your own backyard. How have you been treating others? There is no question that the last 2 or 3 years have been absolutely atrocious. And I say this respectfully, because there are people out there in other countries that are looking at us going, wow, first world's problems. Many, many people have it way worse than us in many nations. And I'm not trying to be ethnocentric here. And it's not mutually exclusive. It's not because people have it really, really bad that it automatically invalidates your concerns or how you should feel. It doesn't invalidate it. It has been a difficult 3 years worldwide, but for us Canadians as well. You are exhausted. You are tired. You're emotional. You've had it. We spent 4 years listening to the Trump debacle, and then we jumped right into COVID without skipping a beat. Families divided, friends unfriended, cancel this and cancel that, and everybody's racist, and holy, stop. Stop. Take a breath and override this with logic. Have the conversations, agree to disagree, be respectful, and show the world that you can agree to disagree and still be in the same room. Show your kids that. It's healthy. Spread the cheer if you can. Use your social media as a platform to send joy in people's lives, as a platform to send positivity into people's lives. What we need more than ever right now is synergy. We need synergy. We need to work together with a common goal of making this nation what it ought to be, what it was, and what it will be again. To the kids of this country, I would say don't mind what's happening right now, please. This is not how it's supposed to go. This is not how we're supposed to exchange ideas. This is not how we're supposed to problem solve things. This is not how we're supposed to address each other. It's not how grown-ups should be speaking to each other. It's not how grown-ups should be acting. And we are going to problem solve this here so that we don't leave this mess to you. I'm wearing this shirt today so that every decision I make, I am reminded of who I'm doing it for. The little people. The little people, our little people, are going to inherit our problems and our solutions and our nation ultimately. What do you want to give them? What do you want them to have? We need to fix it and gently give it back to them. The media. You have so much power. So much power. Your power is incredibly underrated. I believe that you have no idea how much power you have over what's happening. It is not just communicating things. It's how you communicate things and what are the things that you're communicating. Is it fair and unbiased? Does it show the bigger picture? Because if it does not, it is not helpful at all. It's not. If you are reporting with an agenda, what should be the primary agenda, which is uniting this country, isn't going to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's a tragedy of catastrophic repercussions. That is within your purview. It 100% is. It's within your purview to unite this country. That's okay to expose the bad on each side of the proverbial, fence, so to speak. I don't believe there is a fence, but there's definitely dissenting opinions. And inherently, there are sides as a result of that. There necessarily shouldn't be, but there are. So now we're dealing with this. If you show the good on the one side and you show the good on the other side and you show the bad on the one side and you show the bad on the other side, we can agree that we don't want the bad to happen. We can also agree that we want the good to continue. We have now found common grounds. Not digging our heels in our own entrenched positions. What we need is common ground. so that we can start pulling in the same direction, regardless of the things that we agree to disagree on. That's okay. Your responsibility is ethical, moral, in nature. It far exceeds sales. It far exceeds exposure. You have an opportunity to unite the country. If you report strategically, you may help with that. I am not suggesting vetting. I am simply saying unbiased reporting of facts on all sides, with the ultimate goal in mind to unite people. The way things are reported on is also critically important. How it's delivered. Worry less about sensationalism and worry more about uniting people. I can't tell you how to do that, and it's not my job. It's your job. You're the subject matter expert in strategic communication. Let's see it. Lead. Lead this nation so that we may leave it to the next generation united. That is all there is to be said about what needs to happen in this nation. Go to work. Thanks, guys.